Greak, Memories of Azur is an action platformer with Metroidvania elements where you play as 3 siblings in a beautiful hand-drawn world. I was expecting gameplay similar to the Super Nintendo classic The Lost Vikings, like switching around between the 3 characters and help each other to get past an obstacle. Well, it kinda becomes like that, but only much later in the game. You start as Greak, a tiny scout who is searching for his brother and sister in this beautiful land threatened by the Urlags. Greak is pretty nimble and knows how to fight with his sword. His sister is a mage and attacks with magic, and his brother is a warrior with a shield. Greak ends up in a camp where the last ones of his kind are hiding from the Urlags, and this will become your safe haven where you can buy stuff from merchants and start side quests if you would like to. It's fun to play as Greak, but I enjoyed this game the most when the 3 siblings were finally together again. Each of them have special abilities. For example, Greak is small, so he can crawl through tiny passageways. Adara can float for a while, and can hold her breath underwater for way much longer than Greak. And Radel has a grappling hook, so only he can reach specific areas, and he can use his shield to protect the other 2 so they can cross safely. But because of his heavy armor, he isn't able to swim at all, so this gives him a tiny handicap. I like these small differences in their abilities. It changes up the gameplay nicely, and it leads to some interesting puzzle or platforming design. I liked playing as Radel the most. He had a bit more range than the other 2, and his shield was always useful. He is the tank of this group, so that's why I chose him as the leader generally. When you play with 2 or more characters, you control the leader and the others follow. But make sure to keep them close to you, because they aren't always able to make the same exact jump you make. A tiny distance difference can be enough to let one of them fail some platforming. Luckily you have a button where you can squeeze the others as close to you as possible if they are near you. And you have another button that gives them a command to wait, and they will start moving again if you press this button once more. I only had a few instances where I had to switch to a character that didn't make a jump, and it cost me a bit of time to reunite with the others. I've heard some people were really annoyed when this happened to them a bit too often, but I assure you it will barely happen if you hold them really close to the leader by pressing the button I just mentioned. There's another thing I also would like to point out that makes this game a lot more forgiving and more fun. When I started playing this game, I noticed that not only the leader took damage, but also the AI if they were standing too close. So many times I had to start over a boss battle because I didn't die, but the AI did. This became really frustrating at one point, so I decided to take a look at the options menu and noticed there's an option to turn off the AI taking damage. This was such a relief. After changing this option, I had a blast playing the rest of the game. The combat becomes kinda easy as well if you change this option, because you are just an unstoppable force spamming sword attacks and magic. I'm not sure if this was intended, but I thought it was very enjoyable. Certain boss fights still try to make it a bit more challenging by incapacitating someone, but they are still not that difficult. So Greak, Memories of Azur is in my opinion the most enjoyable when you have the complete party unlocked eventually. It makes for the best puzzles and some fun boss fights. Playing as only Greak was still nice, but it was nothing new. The gameplay is in the beginning a bit generic, but the lovely aesthetic and the great music are already enough reasons to continue playing this game. I liked the overall atmosphere of this game and I was never bored. Yes, it can be a bit frustrating sometimes when the AI screws up, but I'm convinced it's also partly the player's fault if this happens. I wish this game was a bit longer, but what Greak Memories of Azur has to offer you is an enjoyable experience with some interesting game design and great visuals. I promise you, Greak and his siblings are worth saving.